Welcome to another episode of the Inkwell podcast. Today I am joined by another great writer, and let's just get Grant in here. And how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
We're good. We're good. Living the dream, right? We're indie creators. We kind of get the chance to do what we love. So, um, yeah, quite enjoying that. So let's just dive right in here. What really inspired you to pursue creating your own indie comics, being a writer, things like that?
Um, I mean, a lot of things, but one of the main ones was the pandemic. Um,
Yeah.
it was the first time in my life I had enough free time to really sit down and work on stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, it was something that I had always wanted to do. Um, I don't know. I guess I got kind of discouraged after high school. My parents wanted me to do something more practical,
I
which
think all parents want us to, you know?
yeah. Which, I mean, I think in the long run, if you're just going to be unhappy, you're better off, doing what you enjoy as opposed
Yeah.
to. I guess one of the things that, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy working in an office, and not only that, but I wasn't really making any money at it either.
Hmm.
So it felt like it was just the worst of both worlds. So
That would be, that really would be. And then you mentioned the pandemic, and I mean, you are the writer. There's a couple Kickstarters you're launching here shortly. I think by the time this episode comes out, they'll already be out there. But is there any formal training with that, or you just kind of had these ideas and like most of us, we just sit down and decide to tell a story?
There was no specifically comic book training.
Hmm.
I went to school for graphic design,
Hmm.
and I minored in illustration.
Okay.
So there is, I guess, some formal art training, but not
Yeah.
really specifically comic book.
Yeah, it's its own medium. It really is different. I've talked to like other writers, and a lot of them, like we've talked about screenplay writing or just a general novel writing. Comic books is its own thing. It's really unique. It's more of a visual media with really good storytelling behind the visual media. I mean, some would argue vice versa, right? You need that good story, and then the artwork can be secondary. But it's just its own little beast of producing good stories, good art. Um, what really, I mean, since the pandemic, we're 5 6 years here. What's really kept you motivated? I know, like the book you're launching, that's like your book that's done pretty well. So, I mean, what really keeps you going as far as like, do you just want to keep telling stories, or is there, what's your motivation?
Wow, that's a good question. Because I mean, yeah, I mean it has been doing well. It does. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can always look at somebody else and be like, oh,
Hmm.
they're doing they're doing better. But um, yeah, I don't know. You definitely have to have a love of it. I mean, if you're doing this
Yeah.
as like a quick way to make money, like yeah, that's not going to work out for you.
No, it really doesn't. I think a lot of us, we kind of are our own worst critics. Where like you said, you can look at other indie creators and they do two, three, four, 10 times what we do as indie creators. But I think we all kind of measure success on our own levels, and that's important because I think if we can keep comparing ourselves to like those indie creators that are doing tremendously well, it's discouraging, that's a lofty goal that we may never achieve, but we're still, like you said, there's passion there. We're content. We're happy with what we're able to do and continue to tell those stories. What are your biggest influences, whether it be like comic related, writers, artists, film, anything?
Oh boy, oh, there's a lot of them. I mean, it's strictly creators. I mean, I guess it's different for artists and
Hmm.
for writers. Um, Bill Sienkiewicz is
Hmm.
not only one of my favorite comic book artists, but one of my favorite artists. Period.
Yeah.
Um, he's just um, an unbelievable artist. Just like
Yeah.
has has very unique style. Um, Jim Mahfood. I love his rough, kind of like almost like kind of unfinished style.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, probably most of the obvious ones like Frank Miller, Alan
Hmm.
Moore, Daniel Clowes, those kind of guys. Um, Mike Mignola is uh, probably, if I could have anybody's career, it would be Mike Mignola, just because I think he's the guy um, um, who's come the closest to having his own little universe. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I feel like
Yeah.
every independent comic book creator dreams of being able to um, have like the DC or the Marvel universe, but with their creations.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mike Mignola is the only one from his generation who's kind of gotten close to doing that.
Yeah, I would agree actually. I would Mike is one of those like kind of anomalies, I would say, aside from like the main guys at Image, right? The not just the seven that started it, but the second wave even, they created some pretty fun universes. But Mike has been really consistent. He was doing it for a long time. And yeah, I think he's on a lot of our lists of, influential, whether it be creators, artists, writers, things like that. And I think a lot of the bigger names, they're they influence millions of people, right? Millions of fans. So yeah, that's a good list. It's a pretty solid list there. What would you say, since I mean you've really been doing this for kind of several years, not like a super long career yet. Let's hope this we can keep going for another 5, 10, 20 years. But what's been the biggest challenges for being an indie creator? There's a lot of challenges for us, but what do you see as kind of the biggest challenge?
Um, Promoting,
Hmm.
um, I mean, it's um, it's just I mean that's just a grind, right? I mean,
Yeah.
sorry if that's maybe I shouldn't be saying that on a podcast where I'm kind of trying to promote myself, but
No, I
um,
totally get it.
it's just it's constant, you know,
Hmm.
like every day when you have a Kickstarter going, um, doing the conventions,
Hmm.
uh, just there it's so expensive
Hmm.
on so many different levels and so time consuming, and um, there's a good chance that it's just gonna crash and burn.
Yeah.
That I mean that's one of the most frustrating things when you give up your weekend. Um, you spend all this money on an Airbnb and gas and
Hmm.
food and all that, and then the convention starts and just nobody's buying anything.
Yeah. No, I've been there. We've definitely been there with doing conventions. I think it was recently I heard C2E2 for this year was like 500 for an artist alley, and I'm like, are seriously? That's where we're at now? Like, I mean, what happened to the $100 a day tables types of things, or $50 a day, right? I mean, I know it's a
Yeah.
several day convention, but 500 is pretty steep. So
So I mean, have you noticed that? Does it seem to you like people who go to the conventions just aren't aren't buying like they used to?
that's actually to kind of flip the conversation. That's a really good question because I think last year I kind of snuck in. So for those that don't know, I'm in the Seattle area, Washington area, and there's a huge convention, Emerald City Comic Con. It's one of the largest in the countries. I think third or fourth. It's pretty large. I got waitlisted for it, being even a local artist. Still got waitlisted. I think maybe I had maybe larger expectations, but you're right. Like I made my table cost. I did make some money at the show, but it wasn't anywhere near what I thought it would be for having 80, 100,000 people for a 4-day show. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree that I think there's a shift in conventions, and
It just
it's like
it feels like it's such a huge amount of work
yeah,
and such a huge financial for so little reward. And it's
yeah.
like I mean, I can't be the only one who's like sitting here thinking to myself, like, why are we still doing this?
Yeah, it's a challenge to not just get in the shows because a lot of them are curated now, but it's also a challenge to get the right fan base, to get the right crowd. And I think a lot of the larger shows, for instance, C2E2, Emerald City, even like New York, I mean, forget about San Diego because I think their artist alley got shrunk down to like 50 tables or maybe 100 artists. Like it was basically nothing from what it used to be. I read an article where a lot of the progression of comic shows is becoming more of a festival, and it's one of those things where it's not about supporting local artists or finding that next fun book to read or something. It's just becoming more of an event to go to. So that's why we get a lot of people that are there that walk by our tables and they're like, "Oh, that looks cool, but I'm not here for that," right? So it is a challenge. It definitely is a challenge. I just kind of pick and choose what shows I do. Um, there's a show
I'm
I
gonna
do.
have to start. I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to start getting way pickier.
yeah. There's a show I do in Tacoma, which is a little bit south of Seattle. It's a 1-day show, and I did more at that show than I did at a 4-day show at Emerald City. So but it's a small comic centric show, so you're getting the right crowd at that show. I mean, the crowd is way, way, way less. I mean, I don't know if they do 10,000 for a 1 day, maybe seven. You know what I mean? I have no idea, but you get that right crowd. And I think for us, you mentioned like promotion is a challenge, doing conventions is a challenge. I think what I've noticed is it's a challenge to find your fan base. Those that are going to support you, that like your work, finding new readers, getting more eyes on what we're producing. Because I think there's enough people out there, that like what you do, that like maybe what I do, right? So it's just finding those people. Um, and some of them don't get out that often, so it's hard. Speaking of promoting, and we'll get into the couple Kickstarters you got coming up here, but um, how do you manage that promoting of stuff that you mentioned that that's one of your challenges? I mean, it obviously has to be a constant grind, like you mentioned, every day, every other day, multiple social platforms. I mean, how do you kind of navigate that space to grow? Because I think for us, we need those followers on Kickstarter before it launches, right? That pre-launch followers. When we launch a campaign, we need, 30, 40, 50, 100 backers to really make that campaign, to keep it going, right? To make it worthwhile. How do you manage, promoting?
I mean, I don't have. I mean, I don't necessarily have a concrete answer to that, other than
Hmm.
just it's a constant struggle. I mean, the other thing is, I don't know if you feel like this, but like sometimes it feels like the promoting of the comic book actually takes up more time than the actual creating of the comic book.
Oh, for
And
sure. a
it's
hundred
like,
percent. 100%. Yeah.
um, and yeah, it can be very frustrating. Um, um, I will tell you one thing, one rule that I have, like
Hmm.
if it's been more than like 3 or 4 days since I actually worked on the comic book, regardless of how behind I am on whatever, whether it's like fulfillment
Hmm.
or emailing printers or promotion or whatever, I will sit down and take time to actually work on the comic book. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, my goal was to become a comic book creator. My goal was not to become a comic book promoter.
Hmm.
And if this is gonna just turn into like another soulless like office job,
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Why
you know
bother?
what are we doing?
Yeah. I agree. I think the promotion, I mean, it's to me, I feel it's bittersweet. It's almost a double-edged sword where we have more avenues to promote than ever before. But with that, you have to find out where your specific crowd is. I mean, there's so many different social platforms. Sometimes it's better to, post to one platform versus another because that's where your fan base is. But it does feel that there's more time spent into promoting, and even if it's only a few minutes, like 10 minutes a day, but then that just is every day, right? Or multiple times, creating images to promote, making sure that you're promoting in groups and different platforms, and creating content for that. I mean, this is a prime example of it. This goes on YouTube. That's promoting
Right.
your work and stuff. So even spending time doing podcasts, that's still promotion, and that takes time away from creating. Speaking of creating, let's get into the Kickstarter that is going to be launching soon. um, Feel free to let us all know about League of Cryptics, and dive us down this fun story.
So League of Cryptids is basically like the Justice League or the Avengers, but with cryptids instead of superheroes.
Hmm.
It's a superhero team. Um, uh, Sasquatch is the leader. Loch Ness Monster is kind of the sensitive one. Um, uh, the Jersey Devil is kind of the comedic relief. Um, Chupacabra is kind of the wild one, and Mothman is the mysterious one.
Yeah,
And they're
very
in this
fitting.
one. Oh,
Say that
sorry.
Chupacabra is the crazy one. That's very fitting.
Right. And in this storyline, they're going up against the Loveland Frogmen.
Okay.
Uh, the Loveland Frogmen decided that they were going to try to take over Earth, and the cryptids are not going to have that.
And this is 1 through 4, but this is you'll be able to get obviously issue 4, get all the prior issues.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
I always do that. I think
Yeah.
most creators do that, right?
Yeah, I do. And I even sometimes I'll take it a step further depending on the book, but I'll, like for all of us, I think a lot of us, we will release variant covers. I will make those as add-ons too, just to if someone missed out of a really cool cover that they liked. Uh, but yeah, this sounds like a really fun story. Like I think we talked about the last issue 1 through 3, issue 3, and that was another successful Kickstarter that looked like a lot of fun. This obviously, I mean, just have this cast of characters, the variety of characters that you're using. It seems to be a fun mix of characters. So yeah, definitely, I would recommend checking this out if you like this kind of stuff. I think it's fun.
Thanks.
Characters. I mean, the art looks good. I mean, do you just have an artist that you work with on all 4 issues, or is it different artists for each issue?
Um, no, so I do some of the art, and
Okay.
my friend Antonio, he does Tony Pasana.
Hmm.
He does a lot of the art. For this one, I did hire a colorist to help me out, just because
Hmm.
doing all the colors was kind of starting to drain me. But
Yeah.
um, because there are people out there who are better at coloring than I am, and don't
Hmm.
take as long to do it.
Yeah.
So I figure I might as well just hire them.
Yeah. I mean, if we can afford it, I know one thing that comes up when I ask, a lot of creators, like, what's the biggest challenge is it financially is a challenge. And then we touched a little bit on that with going to conventions because that can be a challenge, not just getting to the shows, but the financial side of it. And I think a lot of folks don't realize like what it costs to make a comic book and how many people really can be involved And we're not all independently wealthy, so it's a challenge
Right.
to manage that landscape of the financial side of things. And you did mention that you wrote another Kickstarter that's coming up as well.
Yeah. So I have a story in the Comicsburg Annual. So this is my publishing house. It's basically kind of like a sampler.
Hmm.
Um, and you can see all the different characters from the different stories. Over on the left, you see my character Mooney is the white cat.
Nice. Is that your cat?
Yeah. Yeah,
Nice.
his name is Mooney.
Nice. That's cool.
He passed away a few years back, but
Oh,
yes, he
sorry to
was
hear
my
that.
cat.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
We
that's always one of the hardest things, but yeah, it's nice that he lives on, right?
Right, immortalized. I totally get that. A few years ago, I did a commission for a friend, and thankfully he's still around, but they wanted to incorporate our black cat, and he's a one-eyed black cat, right? His name's Captain Blackbeard, but she's like, wouldn't it be like super cool to like put him in the pin, in the commission I did for her? So yeah, it's always fun to you know draw our pets.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun, but and then all the other characters are in kind of your universe, or are they from another universe?
So we kind of keep the storylines separate. Um,
Okay,
the Edge is one of the comic books that's going to be in that. The Edge is about a drug that gives you superpowers at the cost of your life or
okay,
sanity. Theme of Thieves. Theme of Thieves is a time travel mystery. People are getting abducted in present day and taken uh, back in time, and it's about a group of kids trying to figure out where they're going, why they're being abducted.
mm-hmm.
Um, and Trillion is kind of like a modern version of the Million Dollar Man.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that seems like a really fun variety of stories. You know what I mean? I think when you do like an annual, I think it's important to have a variety of stories. And that sounds like a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
if you guys
yeah,
have
go
heard
ahead.
me talking about these comic books and you want to sample some of them, the Comicsburg Annual is a good way to do that.
Yeah. Do you have a release date on that, or is it just
So it's actually
TBD?
coming out. It's actually coming out the exact same day that that League of Cryptids #4 is. It's coming out
Okay.
March 2nd.
Okay. Awesome. So a little less than a month. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and no, both stories seem like a lot of fun. I mean, we've talked about League of Cryptics before. I think it's a super fun idea in a story uh, to have
Thanks.
just the variety of characters. And I think as indie creators, that's a struggle as well, or a challenge, I should say, to create unique characters that can be relatable. And you've done a good job of having these characters that are not necessarily human to be, the protectors, and they're relatable. So I think that's definitely a challenge to create, relatable characters. But yeah, I would say go check these stories out. They're going to be coming soon, and by the time this episode drops, they'll be out. So um, yeah, we'll do what we can to promote them. Um,
Thanks. Do you
yeah.
have anything coming out soon?
Uh, I do. I have my next issue, Luke Bloody Tooth, issue 3, coming out towards the end of March. I'm just waiting on one more cover, and need to get more backers. I'm doing like a thing for every 10 backers. I'm releasing a preview page of the story, and that's kind of like
Oh,
my
neat.
throwback to old school black and white horror. So it's got kind of like your not so typical fairies and vampires. I'm a fan of like supernatural characters, so that's why I like League of Cryptics, because they're not like Superman or Batman. They're completely different. Although my heroes and characters are human, but then they fight all the supernatural characters. So um, yeah, we'll see how that does. And then yeah, a lot of interesting things happening in 26 for what I'm working on. Be going into distribution, so that'll be fun.
Oh,
It's a lot
really?
of work.
Who are you getting distributed by?
Philbo distribution, Phil
Okay.
Russert, I think. So yeah, kind of worked everything out, and it. I mean, he's giving us space to get distributed. A lot of it is still up to us to get out there and promote stuff, but you know, it's nice to know that like we can go out there and reach out to these comic shops, and call them or whatever we need to do, email them and say, hey, our books are out there. You can order them. So I'm kind of redoing like all the books I have, doing like a retail edition. I'm remastering all of them and going back and looking at the script and I'm not going to redraw anything, but it's definitely going to be like if I need to make edits to the script that maybe there's holes. When I was young,
Yeah.
like young and early on as a writer, you don't kind of nail everything. So I'm just kind of looking at that, and then that'll be like I think July. I'm shooting for like a July release of Ice Pick issue 1, and it'll just be an ongoing monthly from there. So um, it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, let me know how the Filbo thing goes, because it's
Yeah.
definitely something I've been looking at. We were being distributed by Diamond,
Hmm.
and honestly, that was a very double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Um,
There. Yeah. I've heard kind of like good and bad about Diamond. I was working with a writer, gosh, probably 15 years ago, and we submitted, I think, 3 stories to Diamond, and all of them got like rejected. And I thought they were all pretty good. Like for indie comics 15 years ago, like they were pretty solid. So
hmm.
I know that things have changed. What I will say about Philbo is he's very responsive. He's very determined, and we kind of see eye to eye on a lot of things on like how to do things. So we're able to really reach out to a lot of people. So we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm typically not a very optimistic person generally. I'm a little bit more of a realist, and I'm very analytical. So when you crunch the numbers and you start to think about things, that's where I'm coming from, the business side of stuff. All my books are pretty much done. I got like 12 or 13 books all ready to go. So it's just every month, submitting the new book and then making sure that stores are aware that our the book is there for them to order. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty optimistic. I think he's grown every single month. As far as like getting more stores on board and having more people kind of submit. So I think that's important. Um, so yeah, we'll see. I'll be in. I'll let you know. But right now, so far so good.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah. So I'll let people know. Like, go check these books out. I'll definitely share them, and we'll do what we can to promote them. Aside from the podcast, and yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you got going on or any other books or anything.
No, well, I mean, I'm always working on new stuff, but
Hmm.
I mean, I'll reveal that maybe the next time I'm on your show, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, happy to have you on anytime. I think we'll wrap up this show here. It's been great talking to you. I mean, we've talked before, and I'm sure we'll talk again because us indie creators are a pretty small group out there.
Hmm.
But yeah, thanks for being on, and I will see you all on the next episode.
Well, thank you so much, Todd.
All right.